Hello, my name is Mariana, and today this is a collective reading because yesterday was the full moon in Scorpio, and actually I didn't have any time to record yesterday, so here I am today doing this collective reading for the full moon. So because it is a collective reading, I'm doing it with my big combined deck of tarot cards and astrological oracle cards, so you'll see both of them here in your reading today. And so the message is very, very clear. It's actually very not stereotypical. It's very movie-like. It's very fairy tale-like. It's very metaphoric in a sense, but it has to do with the devil being on trial, because this is what I'm receiving from the two cards that are opening this reading, the devil and the justice card. So what I'm seeing here is that the devil is in front or facing justice, right? Is presenting to justice, and it's almost like, I don't get specifically the feeling that this devil has facing justice, but there is a little bit of this hesitation, almost like this, oh no, what is going to be my sentence? It's almost like that. But in another hand, in another way of perceiving this, there's also like this it's this relief from the devil's side, right? It's almost like, okay, so now here's the end of this line. There is no way to continue this. There is no way to keep on feeding this distortion, right? I often say that this devil is this one path that actually got broken. It got split, right? For some sort of distortion along the way. And justice is now here to repair it. But because I want to say that this bridges two sides, right? It's like there are two margins, two sides of this path. It's one path, right? It's like it's this one axis, but it has two sides. It has two it's like two plates in a sense, right? And what's now being shown to me is that old Egyptian image of Thoth. Is it Thoth that weighed the heart of those who were crossing over to the other side, right? So if their heart was light as a feather, then they would be able to go to heaven in a sense, right? Not exactly like that, but it's like they would be cleared from this crossing over, right? And this transcendence, which in fact is exactly what I'm seeing here. But there is this sense also that in crossing over, in transcending, the devil is facing this trial, this justice council, perhaps. This feels like a unit, right? This feels like there's something about the oh my god, there's something in my eye. Sorry. This feels like a unit, even though it has two sides, or it has two hands, it has two representatives, right? But nevertheless is one unit. And so this is not fragmented. In fact, this presents as two sides in order to adequately mirror the broken path, or the two sides, right? The split in this one path. So it's almost like to acknowledge the breaking of the path, or the distortion that happened here for the devil. So there is a little bit of hesitation, but there is also the sense of relief. And it's almost like, okay, so now that it's over, it is what it is, right? It's going to be what is meant to be in terms of this divine justice being at play here. And so there is like this solemn moment, right? This very grand, formal also occasion, it feels like. But at the same time, it's almost like there is no fear, right? There is no hiding from justice. It's like divine justice is here, and it's It's like it's meant to balance out what was broken, right? And stitch together, because it's almost like the two sides are meant to come together. This is also something that has been coming up lately. And so justice is here to bring the two sides together. It's almost like a balance out this scale, right? And when the two sides are balanced, are in harmony, that's when the path is brought together. That's when the healing happens, that it's like the side that was broken is now together, right? And so this feels like this event, this happening, this solemn moment, right? It feels very significant. It feels very formal in a sense. And here, this next row, it's all talking about us, like the audience, the ones who are watching justice being made. Because the Seven of Wands is representing the gathering, like all of the buzz, all of the crowd. It's like just a lot of interest, a lot of energy, right? It's also like this boiling up, right? The energy is cooking in a sense, right? The energy is just amping up. This is how I'm seeing the Seven of Wands. And then the Ten of Pentacles is just talking about the order that the Hierophant is here to impose upon, or is here to kind of like organize the crowd, right? This is all happening simultaneously. This is one big scene, right? At the same time that this is happening kind of like separately, or almost like on stage, or it's like it's being seen, right? It's being perceived. It's not something that is closed under behind shut doors. It's not something that is meant to be private. It's actually meant to be seen, right? This justice being made. And then here we are, the collective, the human collective, just observing it, but it needs to be organized, right? In order to be enriching for everyone. And it's almost like there is value in the gathering, I want to say, but there is also value in order. So there's something, I'm not quite sure, to be honest, because all I'm seeing here, it's almost like this, it's like the Hierophant is responsible for organizing these groups, right? It's almost like among the crowd, among the larger collective, there are like these rows or these lines or these, it's almost like there is a line to be followed, right? Maybe it's almost like the ones who are going to enter and see this, first, or you know what I mean? It's almost like there is some sort of a very organized scheme or organized arrangement that is meant to, it's almost like be the audience for this spectacle, right? But the spectacle here, it's almost like these are two separate things, but they are intertwined. Maybe these energies are actually, it's like whether or not there is an audience, this would happen. But because there is an audience, it's almost like coming from their realm, right? Because the Major Arcana to me represents the, like this more, like this wiser intelligence of the universe, right? So it's like there are entities, wiser entities that are here kind of like incorporating or embodying some sort of archetype, right? The archetype of the devil, the archetype of justice, and also, and maybe again, as I said, as a collective, right? The council of justice, right? And maybe the devil could be also like this archetype that is being represented by a collective, not necessarily by one being or by one consciousness, but one that was split. And maybe it was split and fragmented into many pieces. And that's the reason why the council needs to be, made of a collective, right? This collective group, this collective consciousness that is going to kind of like help to bring together the two sides, bring together the two margins. So this is happening whether or not there is, an audience or a crowd watching all of this. However, because there is, it's almost like the Hierophant, which is almost like the belonging to the realm of the devil and the justice, right? So it's almost like this other archetypical type of energy or entity, right? That is here to just bring order. I don't know how to describe this. It's like this could lead to chaos, right? To like a rebellion or like revolution, right? It would be too unorganized. It would be too chaotic, right? Too messy, perhaps. It's almost like this wild crowd, right? But here there is value in how this Hierophant is actually, you know, organizing lines or organizing rows, or however this is being organized. I don't know exactly how that would happen, you know, in reality, if there is such a thing that would resonate with that here in this realm. But I do feel like there is kind of like this spectacle, and then there is the audience, and we are part of the audience. And it's almost like maybe these groups, it's almost like they are families. It's how I'm hearing this. And I'm just wondering, like, how does that make sense? How does that fit here? It's almost like, why would entire families go to such a spectacle? It's kind of like that, right? But there is a buzz. The buzz starts it all, right? There is this a kind of like inflamed need to be there. And it's almost, maybe there is one, right, that it starts to instigate the others. And then, you know, sooner rather than later, I want to say the entire family needs to go there as well. And then there is, you know, this one who is kind of like the manager, or like however you want to see this Hierophant as. I do feel like they are, it's not like they're just, you know, somebody from the staff of this event. It's almost like they have access, right, to, it's almost like to what is happening here, right? So it's almost like it's almost like they cue entrance, right? It's like now the next one in line, the next one in line, the next one in line. It's like they have the cues, they have the right timing. That is so bizarre. Okay, so now going to the next row of cards, this is when, you know, when everybody has taken their seats, when everybody has already followed the instructions from the Hierophant, it feels like now the event is ready to begin. And when it begins, because the entire bottom row came all together, the 4 cards, not just 3, 4 cards are here. And actually it feels very quick and very, it's almost like this surgery in a sense. It could be very painful, but it's almost like it gets to the core of the issue, and then suddenly, you know, the hard stuff that needed to be faced or needed to be dealt with, right, whatever this represents, it's like it's quickly released, and there is this transcendence. So the reason why I'm saying that there is this moment of pain, maybe intense pain, although it's quick, it feels very hard because it gets to the core, right? We have the 3 of Swords starting this bottom row here. And because it's being followed by the Page of Wands, the way that I was seeing this Page of Wands, it's like, you know, a kid when it's going to be vaccinated, it's like, you know, if it's the first time especially, they have no idea what's going to come, right? So it's like this very intense first experience of pain, right? So I'm seeing this as, you know, a screaming kid that has been hurt in a sense. And maybe this is because it's almost like facing justice, right? This devil being on trial and facing justice. It's almost like it has to face also like the root cause of the separation, the root cause of the distortion, the root cause of the manipulation and the pain and whatever, right, that broke the path. And so it makes the devil and maybe the ones in the audience, because remember that it all started with the 7 of Wands, and here it's the Page of Wands. So it's almost like there is a moment, that's interesting, there is a moment that, well, it all starts in a very passionate way, in a very inflamed way, in a very emotional way. Emotional as in like something that is very primitive, right? You know, these primitive emotions that just, you know, move the collective, right? So this kind of like this reptilian type of mindset, right? Just in order to survive. It's like, so we gather around people that, you know, are in the same vibration, and this vibration feels one that is moved by curiosity, but also like the desire to see justice happen, right? And then suddenly, because we're all, you know, grown-ups, or maybe, you know, mature beings, adults, right? It's like it all gets organized because we are civilized, right? By, you know, the leadership or the guidance of somebody that is just reminding us of the value of order, right? And the value of maturity, the value of just overcoming chaos in a sense with order, right? But that instinct is still there because it's exactly what initiated this entire thing. And so when the pain is cut right through, right? It's like when this justice touches the core of the wound, right? Because this is what the Three of Swords is saying, right? It's almost like the distortion happened in a way, and I've been saying that this Three of Swords is like this co-creation that was distorted, right? So in order for this to be corrected, it's like it's almost like it needs to be screamed out, right? So it's almost like this screaming child is a representation of something that is buried deep inside, right? Which is so coherent with this full moon in Scorpio, because Scorpio is the surgeon in a sense that, you know, goes to the core of us to remove, in a sense, and to cleanse the thing that was creating this shadow aspect, right? This devilish type of distorted way of doing things and just being, right? And behaving. So there is this screaming child that symbolizes this primitive instinct of, you know, not holding back or not being, you know, this polite, civilized collective, right, that follows a certain order and sees value in this, but rather the ones who are just wild, right? So this wild one is the one who symbolizes this pain that is still hurting, but because it's almost like they are representing this in order to liberate us all from the pain, right? And then when this cleansing happens, or when this scream just put it all out there, right? It's almost like there is this need to express pain, because it's almost like, so now it's being seen, now it's being acknowledged, now it's being perceived, right? Even by those who are very immature, or very still unconscious, or very young, right? It's almost like they are the ones who are actually going to help us cross the path and bridge this gap, right? It's so fascinating how it's all talking about the two margins, you know, the two sides of, you know, this reality, or two perspectives of the same thing, you know, the two sides of the scale, right, that are now being brought to this balance, to this harmony. And how the Six of Swords, which is, you know, doubling the energy of the Three of Swords, it's kind of like the crossing over. Didn't I say that? Right? It's like the crossing over from one side that was, you know, the turbulent margin, to the other side, which is, you know, the calm waters. The calm waters, they have been, you know, very present in the recent readings also. And the Six of Swords is symbolizing that transition. But this side of the story needs to be acknowledged. It's almost like the pain that every infant, that every child has felt, right? And maybe still feels, right? Because it's like this wound in our inner child. It's like it needs to be acknowledged in order for this chaos, this initial chaos, this tendency to, you know, all end up in a very messy situation, actually to have a lot of value in the gathering itself, right? So here, it's almost like this transition happens, and when it does, it's almost like it completes with this Transcendence, which is the symbol for Pisces, right? So Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, and it talks about this transcendence of the soul, of the spirit, right? So it's almost like this pathway that now, it's almost like this is the margin that was wounded, that was broken, the turbulent waters, and here are the calm waters, right? So this transcendence. But the other thing that I'm seeing with Pisces is that, you know, Pisces is symbolized by the two fish swimming in different directions, right? And that creates, it's like it stirs the water and creates this kind of like a undercurrent. And this is how I'm seeing this Six of Swords, because the Six of Swords is doubling the energy of the Three of Swords. So it's not denying the Three of Swords or pushing it aside or like blocking it, or it's nothing like that. It's honoring the Three of Swords, but lining it up. And it's so fascinating because it's the same thing here, right? It's like, in order for this chaos to be turned into something valuable, it needs order, it needs lining up the energy, right? By perhaps somebody that has the knowledge, because, you know, the Hierophant is the bridge, it's the bridge, right? Talking about crossing over from one margin to the other. It's like, there is a very valuable way to cross over to the other side to make this transition happen. Well, it's almost like there are two ways, in fact, because it's like the one way of doing this, it's like it's following this, you know, the leadership of this Hierophant, which would be, you know, crossing over through land, because the Hierophant represents Taurus, and Taurus is earth. So it's almost like there is a way to cross over, you know, through this bridge that is very solid, that is very reliable, right? This one. But there's also another way to cross over, which is through the water, right? It's like this transition. And it's almost like maybe the ones who are here, right, in the audience, they have this choice. It's like they could rather be, you know, in this transition, crossing from one side to the other. And it's almost like the crossing is the spectacle, right? The spectacle is happening while this crossing is happening. It's all the same thing. So doing this crossover to the other side from earth, right, on earth, and then here on water, right? If we think of the Six of Swords as the boat that crosses over the water, and, you know, the two fish, and it's almost like the transcendence that is happening here at the end. It's actually because the two fish, and it's almost like this yin and yang type of motion, right? It's creating this stir, right? This undercurrent that is moving the boat. And it's not, that's the thing, it's like it's not ignoring the pain, it's not ignoring what was distorted, it's actually including it, right? Because that's how one moves from one side to the other. You see what I mean? So there is this transcendence, and I feel like it's almost like maybe this is just like this symbolic representation of what is happening in the collective, right? So the collective is here to see the spectacle, but really the spectacle is this transcendence of the masses, right? This crossing over, you know, of the people, of the collective, right? By feeling the pain, but not ignoring it, not mistreating it, not judging it, but rather just accepting that this is actually something that is going to take us all over from one side of the margin to the next, right? Transcending over something that was distorted, and now here it is. It's like justice is happening, right? So that feels very, very complete. It's almost like this one big thing that now is complete, right? But still, I am going to pull more cards to see where this wants to go next. And also I'm going to pull from the astrological runes in the extended reading. So if you want to join me there, I'll be very happy to see you. You can find the link down below. If not, I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.